night. Yeah, because I get messages in the morning, and I'm like, hey, it's so-and-so's girlfriend.
No.
And I was like, what? I'm like, I am so sorry. And I thought she wasn't going to believe me, right? I'm like, I had no idea. Like, they told me he was single, and she's like, well, if you want to date him, go date him, whatever. I'm done with him. I'm like, good for you for being done with him, but like,
Why would I want that?
I'm like, I don't want to date him. Like, it was just like, I didn't even want to sleep with him. I just wanted to like, have some fun, whatever. Yeah, then we added each other on Facebook or something, and then started talking, and then started hanging out, and then we became like really good friends. But I just thought, man, power to her for actually believing me that like I didn't know, because I 100% did not know. I would never. Like if I know a guy has a girlfriend, like that's hands off. Like mistake. It's not a challenge to me to be like, oh, he has a girlfriend. Oh, I'm gonna try and get him now. Right?
Some people do.
So it's so funny.
I was
like,
a mentally ill person. I can definitely like relate to that mindset because like, you know, when I was real damaged, like it's an ego stroke. Like, you know, I've, thank God, evolved, but I mean, like, that was exciting. And so, I mean, I'm very empathetic to that. I don't condone it, or excuse it, but I understand it because my empathy has developed to that level, unfortunately.
No, I think, but that's why we all have our own individual experiences so that we can be empathetic and understanding with others, but then also help to flip the mindset for someone who maybe hasn't gone through that experience, right? Like,
I've been on both sides. I've been the other woman, and I've been cheated on, so it's just funny talking about this. Like, well, we're being fucking authentic and honest. I'm like, I've been on both sides. And he's not. I'm like, but that wasn't my main intention at the beginning, but sometimes you just fall for people that you don't really want to fall for, and then you're in this predicament, and it's fucking shitty. But,
I mean, I've been on both sides, but it was like high school, right?
Yeah.
So like it's, like you said, evolved, right?
And take it as a learning experience.
And not like not my prefrontal cortex is actually like developed fully. Like I actually like I'm not as hormone driven as I was when I was like a teenager.
I don't know if this is like a weird thing, but I feel like men, honestly, anyone who like feels the need to cheat, I think, again, I touch on like insecurities and self-love so much because I think it's like such a basis of like life. But like 100%. I feel like the people who do like feel the need to cheat, like honestly, like if it's a healthy, open, loving relationship, I think that if you're on a level where you can be honest, like you should be able to like go to your partner and be like, hey, I feel like I would love to branch out, like, and not just be with you. And like that is such a hard conversation, I feel like, to have with someone, especially with people's insecurities and securities and all that. Like I think that in a perfect world, like everyone should have relationships where they are able to like just go to their partner rather than feeling like they know that they're just gonna get turned down, so that because like their partner's insecure, so they'd rather just go out and do that.
Then, well, I think we're also conditioned into monogamous relationships, right? Like it's the most societally accepted form of union is like, you know, two people that have come together and created a bond. So, but like having a like open relationship is a perfectly valid choice, right? And a lot of people make it work, but it is, like you said, about having that conversation.
Well, like I've had
first.
like a very open realization, like with my, like for me and my boyfriend, like we've been together, and this is so open, like hi everyone. So like he's the only person, I'm the only person he's ever slept with.
Right.
And because we got together our grade 12 year, but like I've had partners beforehand, and like I'm like I'll be honest with myself. I'm not gonna be like he doesn't want any other woman, like naturally, like nobody, like you know what I mean. Like and I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna be honest with myself, obviously he's curious. So I've like we've had a talk. Like I'm like, I need to be mature about this. Like I don't want to lose him because we have such like a solid bond. So I've gone to him and been like, hey, like so listen. This isn't like a thing, but I want you to know that if you ever get to the point where you feel like you're cheating, like you want to cheat, like you just like would rather just like not tell me and run away with something, like tell me so that we can work something out and I can like we can be honest with each other rather than like you just like us just like fucking up our friendship. Because I'd so much rather me be honest with myself and like just brutally honest with each other so that like we can continue to have some type of relationship or bond. We have something so honest and close and like
why ruin that?
So I'm like so I've gone
I think if you're capable of it, that's really mature. Because I've also been in a relationship where I kind of started to watch my partner become interested in somebody else, and they were, really inspired by somebody else, and it seemed like, that relationship was kind of moving in that direction. But for myself, I guess at that point in my life where I was at, I was like, that is worth exploring. If that's like a really positive relationship and it's headed that way, like I'm really all for it. And I think that has to do with the fact that I've really addressed a lot of my insecurities and I know where they're coming from. And if I'm good with myself, it really doesn't bother me as much as it perhaps would have when I was, younger and a lot more insecure. And so I think it is like a lot of self-awareness, a lot of self-security, security in your relationship, and communication.
Totally. Well, like I've been at that. I think.
And comprehension.
Yeah. 2 C's: comprehension, communication. But legit. That's what I'm saying.
That's a good point. I love it.
Communication. 100%. I've always been this honest with myself. Like I've had other relationships where like literally I was so insecure that I'd just be like crying. I can't like fucking even think of him being with another woman. And it was like it wasn't love. It was more attachment. For my, like it was. But I've obviously grown and...
Well, you learn from it, and that's how you learn.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like experiences definitely shape who you are, for sure.
Yeah. And it's perfectly valid any way you want to do it. Like
if it makes sense to you, there's not a right way or formula to love or to commit to somebody. It is eclectic, and we're all on our own path. That's literally my mantra.
Right? Yes.
No judgment. We're all just doing our own thing.
Whatever works for us. Like, let's not judge what other people want to do. Like, if someone's in an open relationship, like, kudos to you.
If you're happy,
if you're both like communicating and you've got a solid foundation and it's working for the two of you. Like, I've had these conversations since like early university about how I feel like the world's gonna slowly move towards polygamy, like, and marriage is gonna become a dying thing. Just because
rejecting Christianity, thanks agriculture for your contribution. We're moving on.
Yes, yeah. Well, and I mean that like people are leaving like religion in droves and self-identifying as spiritual more and more. But I think it's also just that, we used like way back, marriage was a contract that served a purpose.
Absolutely.
Right? And those purposes aren't necessarily fulfilled in today's society anymore. But we also got, we didn't live as long back then. Right? Like, let's be real. Like, you were married, you'd like procreate, you'd, create this little life, you perpetuate the human system, and then you're done. You die off. Like,
you die at childbirth.
You could, right? Like, but now, like, we're living with these partners for like 70 years. So it's just like we evolve as people, and that one person might not serve like all of your needs anymore. They might not serve you entirely, and the relationship ends. Or it might be like, well, I still have a great love for you and I want to be with you and continue this relationship as a life partner, but my sexual needs aren't being met with you anymore. Or like, maybe you have a certain interest that your partner's not interested in and they're not willing to go there with you, and that's okay. You can't force them to do that, but then maybe someone else will, and you have to have that conversation, right? Totally. But it's just like there's so much more to a relationship these days, I feel, that like it's not just about like what's in the best interest of developing the human race and like developing the family's like stature and it's now there's this poet who writes about like what she calls soul contracts, and I love it. I've totally adopted it. And she just thinks that like, before you're born, you've created these contracts with everyone that you meet in your life, and you don't know when you run into them if they're gonna literally be someone you bump into at the grocery store who like gives you this little seed that like germinates and like grows into this beautiful element of your life. If it's something like this where you create a bond, if it's a partner for a year, 10 years, a lifetime, like you really don't know what your soul contract's gonna be, but you have that contract with this one person. Her name's Yana Robinson. If you want to like read about how she like talks about this, like she's amazing.
I learned through soul contracts through learning about numerology, because it talks a lot about you pre-choose your numbers before you go into this life for different, and like the numbers will basically be like how your life path goes, like the different challenges you go through, like the different soul contracts you make before you go into this life.
Cool.
And, yeah, which is cool that you bring that up.
Yeah. I just love them. It was like this, like, I've always been really good at ending relationships.
Yeah.
Which sounds really awful.
She's a heartbreaker.
Heartbreaker.
I just mean more like more that like I've never, like, my friends used to like fall apart, especially in high school when like your relationship seems like the entire universe to you, right?
God, yeah.
Like my friends would, like, not to say that I didn't fall apart a little bit, right? Because there is obviously like a mourning period at the end of any relationship, but I always had this thought of like, well, what's my lesson here? Like always, even as like a young teenager, it was just like, okay, I'm supposed to learn from you. Thanks for the lesson. Like, let's move on. And the soul contract's just kind of like wrapped into that beautifully, where it's just like, okay, our contract is over. Thanks for coming into my life. Thanks for, you know, bringing the lessons that you needed to bring me, and I wish you all the best.
Yeah, good growth mindset.
Yeah.
Alignment right there. I like that a lot.
I think it's really important to like check in throughout your entire life in like dark periods, to just check in and go, hey, what am I learning from this?
Yes.
Rather than being like, what the fuck is life doing to me right now? Like, it's that mindset switch.
100%. If you change your mindset from why is this happening to me to what is this teaching me,
yes,
it's like it changes so much, because this is kind of a tangent to what we're talking about. But yeah, my dog has seizures, and I have to like watch him go through this. And like, to me, like, animals are just like, they should not be going through this. Yeah, they're everything, and they're just like not deserving of shit like that. You know, like.
Yeah.
Especially with dogs, they're so loving, they're so unconditional and everything, and like, he doesn't deserve to go through that. But then I go through this whole friggin' like mental shit through like watching him go through it, and then I get all emotional, and like it actually happened yesterday, and I was bawling my eyes out and stuff. And so yeah, it's just like when I try to like switch my thinking of like, okay, yeah, he doesn't deserve to have this happen to him, but like, what is this teaching me? It definitely has taught me like, live in the moment and be grateful for every day I have with him, and not just my dogs, but like, you know, this, like living in the moment and enjoying like these connections, and not just be thinking like, oh, okay, well, what do I have to do the rest of the day kind of thing. This is like a little bit of a tangent.
No, but it's like, true. Everything comes down to, I think, perception and attitude. Right? How you perceive it is a choice, right? What happens to your life, you can't always decide on, right? But it's how you choose to see it, and then what you choose to do with it. That really is all that life comes down to. Like, you can't control what happens, but you can control your response to it. Right? Yeah.
Totally.
Oh wow!
Look at
I can't read.
That just flowed like super fast.
It wasn't.
Wrapping up this.
Well,
I think so. But we kind of ended up like in a little bit of a different place, as always seems to happen with us. And like, I like it.
I like where we ended with that. Just kind of live in the moment and be grateful.
Enjoy life.
And
you
and
choose
do
how
you.
response.
Yeah.
Do you check your mindset?
Yeah. Check your heart too, right? Like,
totally.
Live with like your own moral code. Like, be true to you and do what feels best for you in your life.
Yeah.
All right.